Good morning, everybody. Yes, I've turned on chat. Sometimes I'm going to get on a roll. So if you're ignored, don't take it personally. The intolerance of the left is very real. I laugh. There's a guy on YouTube called Femyaz who goes on rants against me, claims to be a girl. He's not. He's a boy. He's not a handsome one at that, and he does not do a good job of being a cross-dresser in a maid outfit. And I'm going to say that because he supported the death and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And me, I'm a Christian. I dress feminine. We're going to talk about intolerance. Intolerance doesn't just come from the left, but the left are the biggest promoters of it. And we need to talk about that because the left is very intolerant. And Femyaz, who is a radicalized version of the left, he considers himself trans, does not like it when you call him a he, even though he is. And I can pull off the female thing better than he can. And I'm better looking than him as a man, as a feminine guy. And that's not just my opinion, that's a fact. And he has hatred for God. He has hatred for truth, and he calls me a hypocrite for dressing this way. And yet, he acts as if though he is actually the standard by which society can be judged. No. And it's funny to watch the intolerance of the left that promotes LGBT until Michael is a Christian and starts wearing female clothing and makeup. The irony of that is just laughable. To be sure, I would not marry or date a man. I couldn't do it because, men smell. Because men don't have what women have. Pure and simple. A man cannot give me what I need. We've talked. I've been very open and honest about the reality of sexual desires. And it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not a Christian. Some people struggle with same-sex desires. Some people struggle with kinks and fetishes. I can't explain that except to pigeonhole it into the fact that we're sinful and our minds are good at inventing evil. And people like to peg me as a gay person because I dress this way. No, not at all. I love wearing women's clothes. I love putting on makeup. It's absolute fun. Well, thank you, Shepard, for promoting another channel, but this is for my platform, not somebody else's. If you want to go listen to that, you're welcome. So my thing is the intolerance. And I'm meeting people on my channel from Ireland, Scotland, the UK, Britain, New Zealand, Australia, France. And what we're learning is they're trying to push other cultures into an established culture and then calling us racist and intolerant. While illegals and immigrants run and behead people and knife women, and they go into these other cultures and they don't assimilate, but they cause criminal behavior, death, and destruction. I learned yesterday from Gravity Rising that Ireland has 30% immigrants. And in so many years, Irish culture will be blotted out. Why is that okay for these so-called leftists? Why are they okay with that? They're promoting all these races while, like Adolf Hitler, who educated people during his reign of terror to hate the Jews. The same thing is going on today. And I get really upset when the liberals want to call Trump Adolf Hitler. I don't agree with everything about Donald Trump. I'm very disappointed in him in this term. He's lost the plot, but he's not Adolf Hitler. If you want to find out about the word projection, look at the Democrats in Washington, and there you go. Okay? The Democrats in Washington, they are projectors. And they are projecting onto Trump what they are. 61 million babies killed in the name of abortion. Who sponsored that? The Republicans or the Democrats? Pretty clear. Pretty clear. So, the Democrats sponsor infanticide. The Democrats sponsor the rise in crime. California comes up with goofy laws. You can steal $900 worth of merchandise before the police can be called. And what does that do? It just enabled the criminals to say, you can't touch us. Who comes up with that stuff? People with minds that don't work. Me wearing a dress and a lipstick does not affect my ability to be intelligent. I hate to break it to you. Just like wearing a suit and tie does not mean you're a professional. Just because wearing a suit and tie does not make you godly. Wearing a suit and tie does not mean you're better than anybody. In fact, on the contrary, if there's one thing we've seen in this country, the people who dress for success are screwing the pooch. And they've been doing it for decades now. When are we going to wake up and stop getting caught up in external packaging? I don't care if somebody thinks I'm attractive in women's clothing. I don't care. I think it's awesome. I feel free to be who I am. And that doesn't set well with people. But watch this. I got to stand before God, not you. You're not the tribunal. You're not my judge and jury. God is. And when I stand before God, I don't believe I'm going to get an A+. And anybody who believes they are is really blind to the reality of how deeply sinful we all are. The Bible talks about being effeminate. I'm probably guilty, but I love it. So my thing is, I'm not going to play this game and pretend that that's not part of my lifestyle. When God changes my heart, where I no longer desire that, cool. But I spent 60 years of my life trying to do what pleases everybody. Hello, Shane, and welcome. And I can't do it anymore. And many Christians live their life concerned about what others think. They say things like, well, we don't want to damage our testimony. Man, you're going to damage your testimony. It's called sin. Do we live by grace or do we live by the hamster, the hamster wheel Olympics? We keep running this thing and trying. We got to be perfect. Oh, don't cuss. Don't laugh at that dirty joke. Is that how the world is won over? The world is won over by telling the truth. And guess what the left is doing? They want to censor it. They want to shoot the Charlie Kirks. They want to censor me. They do not like it when a guy like me takes their hugged issue, the LGBT, and I dress like a woman, put on lipstick. They really hate that because now they got a problem. I don't fit the narrative. I'm not going to gay pride events. I don't support gay pride parades and the Rainbow Coalition. I don't. That whole thing is just corporate silliness. Silly. Hi, Kelly. How are you? Liberalism is destroying sanity. It's destroying culture. It's destroying family. Thank you, Douglas, and hello. Good, you're fabulous, Kelly. We love Down Under, so welcome to the channel. Liberalism is destroying Ireland, Scotland, England, France, Germany, the US, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. Why are Caucasian nations on suicide mission? Why? You're welcome, Kelly. Why are white nations on suicide and trashing our culture, trashing the fact we're Caucasian? Why are they doing it? Why are they beating up and guilt-inducing themselves? Well, they use terms. I don't consider myself a cross-dresser. I say I wear women's clothes sometimes. Is that cross-dressing? Terminology bothers me. Sometimes I feel feminine and I want to express that. Other times I want to feel manly and I can express that just fine. The fact is, I go to a warehouse every day, and that's not a woman's job. What I do, you're not going to see women doing what I do. It's too much labor, it's too much heavy lifting, and it's not for ladies. But for me to be bone chilling honest about my reality, it's not just the left that has a problem with it. People. Hi, D. Miller. How are you? I'm always awake early, honey. I live, the majority of the clock, I'm awake. I get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, I'm good. That's right. I'm not up late. It's early in the morning. I already woke up. I went to bed at 8 o'clock. How are you, Snapshot? And the fact is, I don't expect everybody to like my getup, but my beliefs are right. I don't like what's happening to Ireland. I don't like watching a culture get erased. Bringing people in Ireland that are planting Muslim flags and crescent moons in another culture is an abomination to me. It's wrong that they can build mosques in these places, but you can't build a Christian church in theirs. Why is the world embracing a dangerous empire-based religion of Islam? Snapshot, did you even go to sleep? And you're a dad. How do you do it? Shane, where are you at? You must be overseas. And I want to talk about this because, somebody left my channel last night and said I better leave. They don't like it when I talk about politics. I hate talking about politics. D, wide awake? Well, come on over. Let's sit down and have a talk. I'm just north of you. Australia, welcome from down under. Shane, Kelly, are you still in the house? And what bothers me, Muslims are not a friend of anybody. I woke up, made it. I've already went to bed and woke up. My day's already started. Got you. Good to see you, Kelly. Hi, Donna. Wide awake in New Hampshire. What's everybody doing up late? Hi, Christina. Christina, why would I hate you? I have no reason as far as I know. Hi, Carrie. Kelly, why do you keep deleting your messages? We need to get them out, but we can't. They're in our midst. And what bothers me is that it's open season on Caucasian cultures. Do these people think that when you let the Islamics get control that they're going to give you a group hug? No, they're going to burn your churches to the ground. They're going to blow you up. They're going to take your houses. They're going to slice your heads off. That's what they're going to do. And nobody likes it when I say that, but that's the truth. The intolerance of the left is comical in how they have no tolerance for Christians, but Christians aren't running around killing people. Christians aren't saying convert or die. Christians aren't setting fires to mosques. But watch this. Muslims are crashing through a gay pride parade in Berlin, and they refuse to call him a Muslim. You notice that now when there's a suspect in the U.S., they'll say it's a Caucasian, but if it's a black or a Muslim, they say a suspect. The news has done a blackout and a shutout. They don't like it. Good morning, Dr. Indy. Yes, and why would you bring people that hate Ireland, and Scotland and England and the US and Germany just to bring their intifada, their unholy wars. That's right, Christina, that's right. I don't care if people are offended. Islam is a wicked, evil religion. It has no place in God's economy. Islam has no place. I don't believe in that bumper sticker coexist. There's only one Lord, one faith, one baptism. Allah does not exist. He's a figment of Muhammad's imagination. Muhammad was not a prophet. He's a false prophet. And he was, fueled by Satan. And what is interesting is the leftists are promoting LGBT and promoting Islam. Islam has no tolerance of Christians, LGBT, of America being free, of Ireland, or any other culture. They want complete domination. And we need to start speaking out because people are ignorant. They're ignorant. Islam is dangerous to the soundness of humanity. That's right. You get Islamics in control of Australia, they will bloodbath the people. They get control in Ireland, they will kill people. They're already doing it in France, wielding knives and just coming up in the streets and attacking women. Well, Christina, I don't believe in the freedom of Islam. That's evil and dangerous and violent. And it shouldn't be allowed in the U.S. They don't allow us to build churches in their country. Why do we allow them to build mosques and come over here? Kelly, how come you keep pulling your messages? You're not saying anything wrong. Why are you dropping your messages? Oh, it's not just Americans. It's Irish and English and Scottish and French and Germans. They're all doing the same thing. And Sweden, little quiet Sweden, has let these people pour in. No, there's no difference. They both believe the same thing. They both follow the Quran, and the Quran says slay the infidel wheresoever you find it. Check it out. It's right there. It's not you. You're kidding. Why is that? Why are they picking on you? So is Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, but nobody cared about that, did they? Joe Biden was a predator, sniffing girls and taking a shower with his 12-year-old daughter, and she wrote a book saying how she took showers at night because she was afraid of her dad. Did you read that, Waba? Or did you ignore that fact? I don't either, Kelly. Well, at least you admit that. I don't think Donald Trump's a predator. I think Donald Trump's a sinner who needs to be saved. Biden is a predator. Biden is, when he's got his hands on a national press conference on a young girl, right? Why is his hands right here? He's not even having any of these yet. Why is his hands right here anyway? Period. End of story. And all those Democrats standing there smiling. Nice little photo op, huh? Disgusting. The left is silent about their sins, and that's what I want to talk about. The left never, ever, Islam never, ever, the LGBT community, the transgender community, they never admit they're wrong. I admit I'm wrong because I'm a Christian. Got you, Kelly. Wow, I'm seeing it. Yeah, there it goes again. And Trump derangement syndrome is real. Let me make that clear. My problem with Trump is getting involved in Iran. My problem with Trump is the prices didn't come down, the gas price didn't come down, the economy negligible. TDS is Trump derangement syndrome. It's an unhealthy view of Trump while excusing the behavior of the left. Shane, but they're disappearing. Got you, Kelly. I don't understand that. I know that Tams was telling me in the UK that the authorities are watching everybody's social media. Obama was a joke. All he was a photo op president. That's it. How is TDS an empathy? That's a contradiction. TDS is wokeness, but it's not empathy. Really, doctor. Thank you, Kelly. I love this, man. I'm having fun. I tell you what, I feel it in my legs when I get down low. I feel all the muscles. Boy, you want to work out, try to get down and dance like this. Oh yeah, 60 years old and I ain't dead yet. So hey, that's a free show, folks. Oh my gosh. I like to have fun, and people, their responses are just comical. The hatred. Yeah, Obama did not do well in Illinois. I asked a question and nobody's answered it. What did Barack Obama and the lesbian black mayor in Chicago, do to mitigate crime from their community? Zero. Chicago exploded at its highest levels of crime when Obama was there and when a black mayor was there. They got another black mayor, and the crime continues to escalate. So the blacks complaining about injustice and racism, when they're in charge, the problems get worse. Why is that? That's a question that needs a legitimate answer, and the Democrats won't answer it. They will find a way to blame it all on Trump. The blacks killing blacks has nothing to do with whites. Not a damn thing. Look at their music. Look at what goes on in their neighborhoods. Now you're getting somewhere. That has nothing to do with us. Nothing. And people will call me a racist for saying that. Starmer in England, thank God he stepped down, but they got another clown in place. Starmer, he said he wanted to extradite Americans that talked about him. Are you serious? These people are control freaks. They don't believe in freedom of speech. They don't believe in us disagreeing with them. That's Hitler. Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, look at AOC. Anybody who voted for Trump, she wanted a list, and they denied employment. How could AOC say that and think that that's part of American idealism? It is. If you say Islam is evil, that's racist. No, it's not racism, it's a fact. Islam is not compatible with the Bible. Hello, Ray, how are you? And I tell you what, if there's one thing I could use, what little energy I have left, I am 60. I'm on the other side of the hill. Can we do this just for fun? Because I will not always have this. I'm on the other side of the hill. And people get mad when I dance. They get mad when I be provocative. You know, I'm glad that at 60, I can feel sexy. I'm glad that at 60, I can be free. Does everything I do please God? No, and neither does anything and everything you all do. We live by grace, and I don't want to abuse that grace, and I don't want to be presumptuous. And I take upon myself some liberties that some people are not comfortable with. I get that. But you know what? I'm going to continue to be me. Because one thing I want to say is, who says that I can't wear something I want to wear? And people will go back to the Old Testament. Okay, if we're going to go back to the Old Testament, Leviticus 20 verse 9 says, if a child curses his mother and father, they're to be put to death. Have we been following any of that in America? These teenagers are rude AF. Have we shut them down? We haven't done a thing. We allowed people to get into office. You're not even allowed to spank them. That's considered child abuse. Don't go back and quote the Old Testament and cherry pick things for your convenience. You want to live on the law? Then let's go back to it. Adulterers were to be stoned. Having sex before marriage was a no-no. You thought I was in the 40s. Well, thank you for the compliment. You think I want to work at a warehouse every day? I wish I could have a job where I could dress up and have fun and be in an air-conditioned building and enjoy life. I like dressing. People ask, why do you do that? I love wearing women's clothes. I admit it. I love the feel of them. I think they look good on me. There are some men that don't look good in women's clothes. In fact, they look gacky, and it's like, please don't. And I refuse to be chained and constrained by a bunch of silly people. I go to church. They're not friendly and warm, most of them. And they're dressing, they dress and wear the suit and tie. But suit and ties, they're more superficial than real. That's right, Donna. That's right, Pooh Bear. The fashion police. I love that, LB, and I haven't seen you for a minute. How are you? That's right, Shane. And I'm going to say something. People say I'm a stumbling block. Everything's a stumbling block. Why does Femyaz on his channel spend so much time denigrating and demonizing me? Because I'm better looking than him as a man, and I'm better looking than him than pulling off the feminine. Femyaz is not cute, and he's not handsome. He's disturbed. And somebody said he was railing against me again. He has nothing to talk about but to rage bait. And he's got 60,000 subs, and people throw money at him. Hate is on the throne today, folks. Hate. And I don't support a Muslim taking a van and ramming and running over people with gay pride. Leave them alone. I don't agree with the gay pride rainbow thing. But they got permission to do it. You don't like it, stay away. Now, I don't think they should be pushing gay stuff in a classroom. But the public school's owned by the devil. It's run by Satan. So we got to stop being shocked. The prince of the power of the air is at work in major institutions. He owns the FBI. He owns the CDC. He owns the Pentagon. He owns the Food and Drug Administration. He owns the public education. He owns the media, and he owns Hollywood. All of those are working against us. That's good, LB. Paul, how are you? Well, thank you, Kelly. But I take more heat and flack because I dress this way. People need to fight the real problems of the world. Be careful, because there's a movement going on even in the U.S. People are feeling self-righteous and they're saying we need to ban men wearing women's clothes. Okay, you're going too far. You can ban men trying to be in women's sports. I support that. You're a man, you have no business in girls' sports. You're a man, you have no business in a girl's locker room or a girl's bathroom. Period. End of story. Period. That's right, Pooh Bear. I don't want anything to do with kids. I don't hate them, but I've worked with them 20 years. They've changed. And Kelly, and you don't mind me dressing feminine. That's awesome. Yeah, why do people have pride in wearing rainbow panties and having a boner? Hey, if you want to wear rainbow panties and have a boner, do it in your house, but we don't need it paraded down the streets. Okay? You can dress up in your house and be seductive to yourself. I mean, nothing's stopping you, but don't parade it down the street. I don't want drag queens reading story time to kids at the Minneapolis Public Library. No, I went to bed and woke up, Jan. See, I'm fresh. You know what? I turn things on its head by doing what I do on my channel. I've had people say, it's depressing seeing you dress like this. Well, then stop looking. You got a prescription for that. Don't watch the channel. It's like people want to complain about it and keep coming back. It's like Christians complaining about a movie. Oh, why do they have to have cussing in there? You know they're going to have cussing in there. Why can't Hollywood make nice stuff? Because that's not their job. They've got a master, and it's not God. Don't like the channel, move along. That's right. Dr. Indy, that's interesting. Well, it's a 99, so I think it's safe. Men's clothes are very uncomfortable. And if you look at men's fashion today, no offense, if anybody's wearing that weird little H Hurley's not my stuff. I look at a lot of menswear. I don't like Nike products on me. Adidas. I don't like to dress like a basketball star. I have no interest in that stuff. Christina, what are you talking about? Dr. Indy, thanks for popping in. Have a good day at work. Don't let them wear you down. Oh, well, that's because you're into Carhartts, right? I'm not sure what you're referring to, Mahina. Of course, it's the USA. Oh, he said overalls. See, if I had music, I'd get up and dance on here. The problem is you play music and YouTube mutes it. The zipper pocket in the front. Now, see, and I like less zippers. I like easy on, easy off. And don't we love that about women when they wear something that's easy to come off? It's fun, being honest. Mahina, I still don't know what you're referring to. Is what are you talking to? When did I say is? I mean, you're focusing on a flea somewhere, and I'm not in the know. Silk is awesome. Hi, Julie. How are you? Yes. I didn't say you were harmed. I just don't understand what you're saying. I'm trying to understand. I need you to help me understand. What is your opinion on rats? I don't like them. They got ugly tails. I've seen them run out in the neighbor's yard before, right along the edge of the house and go up in the siding somewhere. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I don't got those in my house. When I bought this house, there were rat traps all around the outside of this house. Kind of pointless because the laundry room door was this much of it was rotted and gone, and the rats just cruised right in here. Oh, I redid this place like you wouldn't believe. When I bought the house, the first thing I did was take cobblestones and put them up against the inside laundry room door, and I used that door to keep vermin from walking in until I got a new door in there. You know, I like being sensual. And the Bible says sensual, earthly of the devil. And there's many that criticize me. I mean, I get it a lot. You know, does the Bible, is it wrong for me to be sensual? I guess it depends on the context. I look at people that wear suits and ties, and that's all well and good if that's the way they want to dress, but they're uptight. I live in the South. I'm not wearing undershirts and dress shirts and a sport jacket. You know how hot it is? And you see them and they got big old rings of sweat. So you want to play dress up and go to church, and I got to see all that sweat. You could have worn a light, breezy shirt, and I don't have to see the sweat, and you look just fine. I don't understand that mentality. You want to sit there rigid and uncomfortable with the tie, and you're stifling. Hey, you know what? Knock yourself out. Well, yeah, I put it on 5 minutes so we don't just have drive-bys. But some people wait 5 minutes just to leave an ugly stank remark and run out of the room. And Ethan, I'm sorry for that. I did not acknowledge. I was trying to keep up with all this. When you love somebody and they're out of your life, it hurts deep. Pooh Bear, I'm struggling at my church. I like my pastor. He preached the word. There are things I don't agree with him on. The long hair, they really get hung up in long hair down here. They're all about dress up. They're all about being there every time the doors are open. And I used to be that kind of a person, not the dress up. I will never wear a suit and tie. Mahina, that's fine. You said is. I asked you to define what you're talking about. You're not telling me. You're going on about things I don't understand. What did you mean by is? And you said something about the U.S. This is the U.S. What do you mean by us? What is all that? I didn't say anything wrong. Where? You coming in here like you're arguing something. That's a little weird. I think my conversation is very forthright. We're talking about the destruction of Caucasian culture because that's a reality in these other countries that are Caucasian. There's not a damn thing wrong with Ireland being Irish and Scotland being Scottish and the UK being British. And America is a melting pot, and they're beating up and demonizing our race, and I'm tired of it. Well, Mahina, you're fine. Relax, you're fine. Hi, Jesser, how are you? Hey, when is Sturgis? Is that in the summer or the spring? When all the bikers go up there. Only time I wore a suit is court and funerals. I'm concerned. Japan. August 1st. It's not August 1st. That isn't until Saturday, I think. Why is my calendar on December? That's crazy. I need to replace this thumbtack because it keeps falling off of this thing and it's so stupid. And it always ends up in the same place. That's weird. July. Yeah, August 1st is Saturday. Oh, I think more people should dance. I even see women in our culture, and people are confident being snarky, but they're not confident in having fun and being nice. You know, I love to dance. It's good. I remember I danced 5 hours one night with a Filipino friend downtown Denver. I mean, we were soaking wet with sweat, but oh my gosh, we had fun and I slept like a baby that night. Dancing takes exercise, and people criticize my dance and say I need to take dance. I just do what I feel. I feel the music and I just go with it. There's no right or wrong, you know? But that's right, Mahina, you're preaching to the choir. I mean, we know that we're all U.S. citizens anyway. Illegals are not U.S. citizens. Hey, Jeff. That's right, Jess. And Kelly, thank you for that. You know, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get my snacks and eats. You know, I gotta eat on the internet. It wouldn't be me if I didn't eat on the internet. Roxanne, you don't have to put out the red light. Roxanne, you don't have to put out the red light. Roxanne. Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell you something. The secret to youth. Okay? Cheese does a body good. Fruit juice with no added sugar. That's almost smoke and mirrors. They say fruit juice from concentrate, the natural sugars, is quite extensive. I do not drink pop or soda, depending on what you call it. Don't drink Pepsi, Coke, 7 Up, Crush, none of that. I'm lost in my own DNA. Well, Michael, you think you're an intellectual, huh? You're not. I'm different, Michael. I'm not just like you. Did that ever occur to you? That's right. But let me ask you something. Would I fight for the right of everybody to be heard? Not Islamics. No, no. I don't believe they belong here. Their mosques don't belong here. Do you know why? I don't agree with Mormonism or Jehovah's Witness, but they're not killing people. Muslims, they encourage terrorism and violence and raping and pillaging and destroying and bombing. And their whole religion is steeped in it right from the Quran. Slay the infidel wheresoever you find him. Read it. Michael, who cares what you think? My mother did not bring up a man. My mother was abusive. So you don't know what you're talking about. You know nothing about me. Are you a psychologist? Are you a clinical doctor? You're not. So give up, stick to your day job, whatever it is. If you even have a job. Or are you a basement dweller? You know, I'm deeper than you, and I'm not like you, and I don't want to be you. I grew up in an abusive, jacked up family. And you don't get to define a man. God does. Thank you, Jesser. Yeah, they're every time she posts a response, YouTube is deleting her message. She's not saying anything that violates any community standards. I'm watching it. I thought Kelly was retracting her messages. And I've heard of this, and now I'm seeing it. And Kelly, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand why that's happening. But YouTube does weird things. Did you guys ever hear of the movie on TV or read the book Not Without My Daughter by Betty Mahmoudi? She married an Iranian doctor, fell in love, had a kid. He coaxed her to move to Iran. She did not want to go. Then he locked down on her. And the story is her escaping him. Anybody ever hear that? Watch it, read it. You can pull it up on YouTube, I'm sure. Let me tell you something. I can't get to the money y'all donated, so don't donate to the super chats. I cannot go back in there and turn it off. I'm like, great, I can't even turn off the super chat. Google is filthy rich. Jennifer is a great story, and it's disturbing. And America needs to be taught that in public schools. That there are religions that teach people to dominate, to hate, and to abuse, and they are to be avoided. They want to slam Christianity while encouraging Islamic holy days in a classroom. Google does run the world. Not Without My Daughter, Betty Mahmoudi. That's Mahmoudy, I think. I'd have to check the spelling. She escaped Iran. Let me say something. An American woman had to earn the trust of her husband. He locked her in the house and go about his business all day. She had to earn his trust little by little. She got to be friends with the other Muslim women. She finally got to go out and go to the grocery store or the marketplace. And she earned his trust. And she planned her escape. She escaped into Turkey on foot and got out. Michael, you're an idiot. How old are you, Michael? What do you do for a living? Let's talk about you. Let's focus on you since you want attention. How old are you? What state do you live in? And what do you do for a living? Talk to us. And if you don't answer the question, I'm going to throw you out of the room. You're 40 in London. So you support the gay police department in London? You support all the Muslims moving in there? You support what London's being destroyed by woke? Is that what you like? No one can delete her chat except my moderators, and I would have no reason to believe that my moderators are doing that. If my moderators were found to be deleting somebody's chat who's not doing anything wrong, they will not be a moderator or on this channel anymore. Paul, that is exactly why I turn off comments, because of people like Michael that just come in here and defecate. They're not saying anything. Nothing he says hurts me. You don't support anything. You know, that's a lie. If you don't support anything, but you obviously support disliking me. But I'm going to prove to you all something. I'm going to be a little bit vulgar here, so forgive me. If Michael's so against me, why is he staying in here? Doesn't like the way I dress? Or does he have his pants down and he's touching himself? I think we're onto something there. Because if I don't like a channel, I'm out. If they're saying or doing something I'm against, I'm out. I don't want to waste my time. I don't wish, Michael. I don't want to see your peenie. I don't want to see you at all. But you still haven't left. So I proved my point. I proved my point. You either a closet gay person, running your mouth, sitting in your underpants. Come on, man. If I don't like somebody's channel, I'm not going to sit there and keep doing this. I got better things to do. Gotcha, Michael. You're running around in your underpants and you got caught again. So, hey, you know, go somewhere else and play. I got mental health problems. You got spelling problems, bro. You can't even type right. Hi, TT. You've been in here before. I'm not a cross-dresser. I like wearing feminine clothing sometimes. Mental health is not one word. You need to space between them. Michael, I have to teach you grammar and you're from London? You got to be kidding me. See, sometimes we need to allow the trolls to, you know, show how ridiculous they are. You know, I'm getting more mature. Don't just ban them unless they're just rude. Then we just out the door. And he is being rude. He can't make an accurate diagnosis of me. Michael, you're not leaving, so you prove my point. You love this channel. You can't leave it. You can't stay away from it. Because I don't consider myself a cross-dresser. I combine masculinity with femininity. Cross-dresser to me is somebody who goes literally all out. The purse, the heels. I might try heels though. I see if my feet are more comfortable in them. I don't want those stiletto heels though. I don't know if I could balance on. Nope, I'm not a trans evangelist. I'm evangelistic and I'm not trans. I'm a man, born a man, die a man. Smelling like pine trees. And that's good. You could say you come from the land of Vikings and log rollers, Paul. But don't be coming out in your coveralls with, or overalls with log rolling, okay? And what's with the cross-dressers that wear women's clothing got hair on their chest and hairy legs? Ew. I don't know what a Bodo or a blue waffle is. Shall I carry an axe? I thought it was it wasn't Irish that carried the axe, it was the Vikings, right? And beards, yeah. Why would you dress in women's clothing and have a beard? Ish. If you're gonna play feminine, then go all the way. Shave under here. I love clean and smooth on me. You gotta get rid of all the hair. It hurts, can't walk very far. Got you, Jesser. Thank you for telling me that. Do you wear them at all? That's right, Ethan. And you know what? I like wearing women's clothes, and I cannot lie. Sometimes it feels sensual. You know, I get bored. I got to find things to entertain myself. It's a fetish, too, you know? Oh, I'd love to have a girlfriend and we both dress up feminine and go out on the town. I did that with my roommate. Our simp society is amazing. When I was with Tina and we went downtown, people held doors open for us. We stopped. There was no crosswalk. We stopped middle block to cross. All the traffic stopped. I laughed. I said, you know, if it's just me in jeans and a t-shirt, they're not going to stop for me. They won't even stop for me in the crosswalk. Why would you ask about my relationship with my mother? You don't know me. I just said that I grew up in an abusive family. I'm not in touch with her. I'm not in touch with her at all. I'm sorry, Jessica. I see it now. The chat was going and I'm trying to keep up with stuff. Solus, you don't need to tell us that you're playing with yourself. That's not okay. Not okay. We don't need to know that. Hi, Leslie. How are you? So what's your motive for asking the question, Clutch? I mean, I'll give you the floor for a minute. You got something intelligent to say, or are you going to run around in your underwear like everybody else today? All right, now it's turn. You going on. Hide. Bye. This isn't a sex channel. Oh, Jessica, I live in Georgia and the channel's about God. Everything. We talk about everything. Sexuality, Christianity, false religions, politics, my life, my stories. Patty, have you been listening to the stream at all? Have you been listening to the stream at all? I've been talking about that. I'm talking about what's going on in Ireland and the UK, and I'm disgusted by it. Muslims specifically. Yeah, I think Michael walked out of the room. We pegged him for what he is. Hello, Max. How are you? Hey, Lyndon. Yeah, you know what? The evening's a better crowd. That's the regulars. Some of the regulars are in here, but this hour of the morning, you got all kinds of people up. You got the weed crowd. You got the people that stay up all night, don't go to work, and sleep all day crowd. And then you got the rest of us. Oftentimes, I do my rants with no comments in the morning because it can get ugly. Ugly. Yeah, I'm not from Ireland, but I have Irish genes in me somewhere, and I don't like seeing what's happening to our brothers and sisters in those countries over there. I don't like it. Janie, how are you? Thank you, Mahina. And no die. 60 years old, no die. They are Jesser, and Caucasians are having less. Muslims know this. Do a study on demographics. False religions have the highest birth rate. Other cultures that hate us have the highest birth rate. What does that say so many years down the road? Birth rate alone is going to squeeze us out in elections, leaders, and we're going to be in trouble. I am praying that God will rescue us before it comes to that total point. And I think that he will. That's just my personal belief. I don't have the word on that. I think God's going to rapture his church before it comes to that. What do you take to not get gray? I don't take anything. I don't take anything. But I will say something, and people will disagree, but that's okay. Doing drugs, doing alcohol, lots of it, smoking cigarettes. Paul Berg is a doctor, Dr. Berg. He has a YouTube channel. I agree with a lot of what he says. I didn't watch it, but he said vaping is like doing 400 cigarettes. I'm like, what? The dress says you take something. What do you mean take something? I don't. I was just telling the room the other day, I don't have it anymore because a lot of pictures I uploaded on Facebook, and I got shut down on Facebook because I violated a community standard. I don't even know what it was I violated. So I said, I'm not going back. Done. 15 years old, I'm in the Owens River pulling on an inner tube. My body is still the same. I'm the only one in the family that adopted me that looks anything like my own self. My sister, my cousins, none of them look anywhere near their childhood. Wow, Max. Ladies, dyeing your hair is detrimental to it. Hair dye ruins your hair. And I've even read that hair dye will often make you gray faster. I do not understand what the obsession is with American or Caucasian women in the need to dye their hair blonde. Blondes do not have more fun. That is a myth. And it looks like trailer trash when you've got blonde highlights and the dark roots bleeding through. And this doesn't match. This looks stupid. That's my opinion. The newscasters, all the celebs. It's like, why can't you accept your hair color? That's basic, well-adjusted attitude 101. And you dye your hair blonde. It doesn't make you prettier. It doesn't make you cuter. It looks trashy with the dark roots, the blonde, and the non-matching eyebrows. You know, and people call me strange. Just saying. One vape can hold the amount of 400 cigarettes. Got you, Steve. That's Dr. Berg. Have you heard of his channel? I didn't watch the whole video. I just saw a snippet. Dr. Berg usually has intelligent stuff about, you know, staying away from certain foods. But I also realize just because we're all on YouTube doesn't mean we're right all the time. Well, I don't understand it, Bites. I think women need I'll tell you, a natural woman. Now, let me define that. Not obese, not letting her body go to hell, but a natural petite woman just being clean and letting her hair color, that's hot. I like a simple woman. Now, there are times maybe because I've gotten into makeup. I love the women with all the eyeshadow, the colorful eyeshadow and all the blush. I think that's kind of hot. Well, thank you, Steve. We talk about everything. I welcome everybody, but it's definitely not for everybody. I mean, people have to decide that for themselves. Well, thank you, Leslie, because I'm definitely not the norm. Yeah, they talked about the percentage of redheads. Out of all the places I've lived in my life, Spokane, Washington, had a lot of redheaded people. A lot of redheads in Spokane. And I used to believe that redheads were all Irish. I knew a guy that was redhead, brighter red than me, more like orange fire. Totally Italian. Totally Italian. Redheads used to be made fun of. You got women trying to dye their hair red. So redhead is in vogue. This is good stuff. I need to get some, Shane. I got some of this stuff, but it's all glitter. It's cool. I can put it on, but it doesn't really show up. I bought this at the flea market for like $2. I think there's some things people should not try. Yeah, this stuff doesn't show up as much. Does not show up as much at all. And especially my glasses kind of hide it, but I kind of like the blues and some of the gaudy colors. Kind of looks sexy. Now, I will say something, and I'll probably get in trouble for this, but my experience with redhead women, they're pretty, very difficult to get along with. Very fiery. Most redhead women I met do not have sweet dispositions. And I've also read that redheads are very sensitive. And I see that with me. We burn easily. That's a fact. Janie, it's this stuff. Bare Naked granola. They sell at Walmart and some of the grocery stores in the cereal aisle. Your uncle tried to convince you to switch sides. Really, Max? Oh, Kelly, I'd let you do it. That'd be fun. I wish you could come and we could do it on live while people are watching. That'd be a kick. It is good. It's got these little chocolate pieces in it. Problem is I dumped a couple of half-empty bags and there's a lot of powder in here, but hello, Cherry. How are you? The church I go to has 3 redheaded boys. I was like, oh, now that's weird. But you learn a lot about people. As a YouTube person, I learn a lot by watching chat and people. There's a psychology out here. We can see Kelly, but the message will go boom and go away. Hey, Kelly, if you came by, I would definitely, as long as I'm not working, I would definitely see you. We go to dinner or something. If it's a weekend, absolutely. We do a live. Hey, Kelly's sitting naked in chat, folks. Everybody look her way. Kelly's nudie in chat. Now, Paul, I don't discuss those personal details online at all. Too many trolls, too many people trying to map out my life. Not questions I'm going to answer. Really, Jill? Are you redheaded, Jill, or no? That's right, Yimes. That's exactly right. That's my philosophy. Hey, Max, they were talking at work about the trades going on and Detroit and all that, and I wasn't following all of that, but my supervisor and somebody else were talking about some teams have let some people go and other teams want certain people, and Some of that can be a game changer. No, you're all right, Paul. It's just you can't answer questions on chat and the internet because of clowns. Hi, Audrey. Audrey's from Scotland. How's Audrey doing? I also notice in chat and in life, there's a guy at work, I will say good morning, and he never responds. And when I left, I say, goodbye, Scott. He never responds. And I do that on purpose. People that cannot acknowledge a greeting are a special kind of messed up. I'm all right, Audrey. I'm all right. Well, the problem is adults are a huge problem on the internet. They feel brave to just run their mouth. Oh, he's not an introvert. He smarts off to me regularly. I said, why are you being an ass? Because I do that to everybody. And I said, well, it's stupid. And I've refrained from saying some things that I know would really get a point across. He likes to talk about how dumb everybody is. And I said, is that why your BO can be smelled 10 feet away? I mean, I work harder than you and you reek. But I got my little spray bottles up on my pack shelf and I every so often because I don't want to smell myself. Yeah, but Cherry, we're talking about somebody who he hears me. I remember when I drove the bus. I've done experiments without doing experiments. High school kids, good morning. Have a good day. 99% of them will not respond. I don't date men at all. And I haven't dated any women in 8 years. Really, Yimes. Sometimes it is. I've got a little lessened hearing in this year. I've got tinnitus in this year, and it came after COVID. And I sometimes, the guy will stand there in a shipping shack. I can't hear a damn word he's saying. And I said, I cannot hear you, dude. Cannot. And they get irritated sometimes. Most of them are just rude. Absolutely, Yimes. I mean, I see it in our society. Kids are not taught to be polite today. I'm sorry, I believe you should acknowledge your bus driver. When I drove a bus, their lives are in my hands. The least you could do is say morning. I came out here to Richmond County, and these kids have such a nasty attitude. I stopped. It was raining or something, and there were these black gals that they would not be at the bus stop. They stand 3 blocks away in front of their house. I drove right by them. That's not the stop. And one morning, I pulled up. The girls were finally at the stop. And I said, good morning, ladies. And the one gives me the attitude, the whole bottom lip stuck out. You're supposed to stop down there. I said, no, ma'am. You want to show me that on my route sheet? And I held it up. And I said, do not come on here and giving me an attitude because I will not tolerate it. That is rude and uncalled for. She stomped down the aisle and threw her butt down in the seat. How can you love people like that? I don't. And I finally started speaking up. I'm not afraid of these people down here. I don't care what color you are. You being an ass, you being rude, I'm going to address it. I'm going to address it. I don't like it. A catchphrase. I hated driving the kids down here. I'm glad that God removed me from it. He did remove me from it. I got vertigo as a result of COVID a year later. And driving these routes and driving doubles. I was driving 9 routes a day. And I had to double up on the bad routes. And I got no backup at the schools. Kids smoking pots, tearing up seats, starting fights. High schoolers. By the time you get in high school, you usually get that crap out of your system. I don't play banjo, but I got a video where I've got a broom in the backyard, my burn barrel going, and I'm doing dueling banjos. That was funny. Hi, Connie. How are you? I tell you what, it took guts for me, a small white guy, to get on that bus and look in that mirror and realize, wow, I've got nothing but 80 haters back there. Believing what the liberal media and the school system tells that whites are bad. I challenge any of you to do that. It's unnerving. So do you think I'm going to not be who I am on YouTube? I had a girl get on my bus down in one of the worst areas. I saw you on YouTube. I said, you did? Yeah. She walked down the aisle. Our bus driver's on YouTube, man. Hi, witchy chick. Yeah, I decided to turn it on today. Once in a while, I feel bold and brave. I'm bold and brave every day, but I thought, well, let's entertain everybody today. If you ladies would put on some music, I'll get up and dance. You can't put on music unless it's a YouTube short and it's authorized by YouTube. I had somebody say I was doing copyright infringement. One of the people making comments, I said, how's that? If you go into shorts, it says add music. It only allows the selections that are posted. And I can type in music, and if it's not allowed, it won't be there. And that's not a copyright infringement. I don't know how YouTube, you can dance or do a short to up to 15, 30, maximum 60 seconds. Yeah, there's something called long hauler syndrome, folks, that there are things that happen after COVID. One of those was I got tinnitus in this ear, got vertigo. And I knew after I got COVID, I said, that took something out of me. I felt it. And even after I was released to go back to work, it was a good month before I was firing on all 8 cylinders. That was nasty stuff. And what pisses me off about that is that was manufactured by evil people on purpose. And I believe Paul Fauci is part of that crap. You know what? And I did it too, Audrey. Even as a city bus, when I rode the city bus, I'd always say, good morning, thank you, always. That's a human being in that seat. You say, well, that's their job. Yeah, but he's driving safe. You know, why do we have such an aversion to acknowledging another human? COVID was toxic. And they can go on and on that it started in Wuhan. I think some world leaders were involved in that crap as well. Do you remember anybody remember in the US or anybody? Do you remember when they had Justin Trudeau of Canada and he's smiling? This is the great reset. What are you grinning about, Cheshire Cat? Oh, you like that everybody's trapped in their homes? You like that? Doesn't hurt your bank account, does it, clown? I'm going to say it. The Democrats loved COVID. They loved it. Let me tell you something else, if you haven't heard me say this before. Before it got a toehold in the US, does anybody remember what the liberal media said about COVID and who was the most susceptible? Does anybody remember? Before it got a toehold in the US, they said African Americans need to be careful. They're more susceptible. Why is that? Why is it? Wait a minute. Stop. Let's unpack this. You know, black men and women have naturally more strength than we do. They do not have to go to the gym. I'm going to say something. I'm going to be graphic. I had a black woman on me on that bed right there. She was lazy at the job, but I liked her. That girl had solid muscle on her. She don't work out. She don't work hard. I thought she was attractive. We didn't have sex, but we had our clothes off. She was hot looking. I said, Tiffany, I cannot believe how much muscle's in you. She was sitting on me and she pushed on my chest. I said, oh, do that again. That feels so good. Why were they more susceptible? They weren't. The Democrats did that to act like they cared. And guess who put on their mask faster than anybody else? I live in this place. It's 53% black. They still got their masks on. Well, that's because they eat a lot of fat foods and fried foods. The Filipinos have that too. The lechon, which is the pig. They roast the pig and they eat it. They eat the pork skin. They eat it all. They're only prone because it won't make the diet changes necessary to prevent it. So what I'm saying is the Democrats primed the pump to keep that community of people voting for them. Oh, the Democrats were warning us they care. Johnita is a black woman. She and I went down to vote years ago. We went down to the convention center to vote. We were on our break between bus routes. I even did a short video on Facebook. I said, Johnita's a Democrat and she's wrong. And I'm a conservative and I'm right, but we're friends. And she laughs. She goes, you shut up, boy. And we were in the car doing a video and we were going to vote. And I said, no matter what you believe, people need to get up and vote. And to not vote is to waste your privilege. Who's the tolerant ones? Who's the intolerant? So we're standing down there in line. It's at the height of COVID. 6 feet, social distance. Johnita's goofy. She'll cut up. We were in Waffle House eating breakfast one morning after routes. And she started singing, sugar pie, honey bunch. I said, hey, there's all these people behind us looking. Oh, she goes like this, turns around, and the black women and everybody's staring. And she goes, I don't care. I'm just having fun. And they all said, that's right, sister. Oh, it was so funny. So funny. We're standing in line. There's a black guy, not older than me. This is the thing. This is a problem I have. Most people look at me, they don't know I'm 60. And you put me up against a 60-year-old black man or 60-year-old white man, I don't fit. And Johnita is so goofy sometimes. And she Accidentally, she was doing something and she bumped him, barely brushed him. This guy went full ratchet on her, yelled and screamed. I lost a bunch of people because of COVID. Don't get near me. I love it. And she said, I'm sorry. And he kept on. I said, sir, she said, I'm sorry. Did you hear her apologize? Leave her alone. He looked at me. I said, you made your point. It was an accident. Shut the F up. I defended her. She looked at me. She said, wow. I said, I'm not going to comment here. We'll talk later. They were completely scared of this. When you looked down here in my town and you see black women and black men in their car with the windows rolled up by themselves with a mask on, I'm like, okay, now I get it. Now I get it. It does not protect. Hey, somebody posted on Facebook, and I stand by this. If I can wear underwear and jeans and a fart can go through denim, how's a mask going to stop a virus? That one. That one. Audrey, they say there's no cure for tinnitus. I watched a couple videos last night. There's an Asian guy saying to do these things. I did it. Some of it's poppycock. But I don't know. I'm open to it though, Audrey. It is. I'm willing to try if it works. Cool. But COVID was used politically in this country. Yimes. I see people wearing masks. I don't comment. That's their prerogative. I have no problem with that. When I was in Asia, I saw Japanese or Chinese women wearing masks. As I got to know people, some of them did it. You know, the bird flu went around way back. But some of them did it because of the air pollution in Hong Kong. Some of them did it because they had a cold. And I don't have a problem. That's people's business. But in your car alone, that's a bit much. Shane, and they found that out. They also said shutting the schools down did not help the children at all. Actually, I'm just the opposite. Maybe we should shut the schools down. What are these kids learning anyway? Crap. Man, there's more sand in here than stuff. Oh, I clean my own ears out. Doctors tell you not to do it. But every time I gone to the doctor, they said, man, your ears are clean. I said, I know. So I take the Q-tip and do it myself. And I don't bash the eardrum. No, I know how to do it without shoving wax up against it. Man, we couldn't get toilet paper. Oh, did you notice that bleach, Lysol, and wet wipes and all those Clorox wipes and everything went through the roof on price? They took full advantage of that. What are IEDs? The Q-tip thing. You have little hairs in your ear, and sometimes things itch. You cannot scratch that with your finger. I'll take a Q-tip. Oh, there was a little wax in there and the itching goes away. Just don't poke your eardrum. And they didn't go back down. Lowe's and Home Depot jacked up the cost of lumber during COVID. 2x4s went up to $8 a stud. Now they've come back down to earth, but when I moved here, they were $273. Now they're more than that, and they stay. They do that because it's psychological. Oh, I'm not paying $8 for a 2x4. Oh, it's down to $350. It's corporate bullcrap. That's what it is. They do that so they can do a price adjustment, and then you won't complain about it when it comes back down to the higher price than when it was low. But it's not as high as it went up to, so everybody's, breathing a sigh of relief. Let me ask y'all something. In the U.S., we shut down restaurants, we shut everything down. The stores, Home Depot, Lowe's, did not shut down at all. Why did the government allow all those to be open? Remember what they said? They wanted to shut down everything for 2 weeks. We never did that. We had draconian lockdowns on restaurants, bars, hair salons. The schools even shut down March 16th. That was weird. I was doing food delivery from March 16 on to the poor kids. We still had to use the buses and take food to the students in the lunch programs. And I came on in May for the summer to work full time for a program they had. And I cleaned out the buses. On March 16, they shut the schools down here. Drivers pulled their buses in the lot. They didn't put their windows up. They didn't shut the driver's window. And in May, I come in, I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like a time capsule. There was pollen on all the seats that fell later in March. Thick. There was the poster board projects that they do in March. Laying on the seats. Book bags, stuff, sitting. I said, this is weird. This is just like frozen in time when COVID hit us. And I swept these buses, put up the windows, checked the fluids, fueled them up. Not one of those drivers came and said, wow, my bus was fueled, the windows were up, and it was all clean. Not one out of 150. The mechanics saw what I did. The mechanic said, man, these drivers are going to love you. Look at the way they parked it and didn't even put the windows up and take out their trash. One bus, was it 87? The dogs got in there. They pooped on the seats and they stepped in it. It looked like they skated in it. It was all down the aisle. It was all over the seats. Dog poopy footprints all over. I took a video with my phone. I sent it to my supervisor up in the offices. I said, look at this. Mr. Nelson, what bus is that? I said 87. She goes, that's ridiculous. I'll bring you gloves, bleach. I said, yeah, I'm going to need something. We talk about thankfulness. This culture down here, they don't have basic anything. A lot of the people. I didn't think I'd get COVID. And I believe I got it because I took the Johnson one and done. I took it when school got out. 2021. And I wasn't going to do it. But they said, if you have a passport, you won't be able to travel. I thought, oh, I'm not losing my passport and freedom. So I went down to the pharmacy, got the free Johnson one and done. Less than 2 months later, I got COVID. If I hadn't taken that, would I have gotten COVID? I ask myself that all the day. I wish I hadn't gotten that. And then you had people getting all the booster shots. Hi, Gabby. How are you? Hi, Craig. Wow, Jill, that's awful. So I asked myself, if I didn't take the vaccine, yes, that's what they said. Let me tell you, 8 days in this house, I had a fever that didn't quit. I called it the COVID smell. My hair had a smell, not stank, but it had an odor. I washed every day. They told me that lie too. Yimes or bites. They told me that lie. Oh, it's not as strong. I thought I was going to die. I didn't have respiratory problems. The fevers came and stayed. My appetite went. I didn't want to eat anything. I'd go to sleep in the middle of the day. I'd wake up at midnight and stay up for a few hours and then crash. I would actually put on a mask and go to the store to get some fruit juice. I didn't say a word to anybody. Then I went down to the health department to have the test done. I never missed work. And sure enough, it was a positive. I pulled up my truck and the lady come to me with that Q-tip, put it in the nose, and my nose did this weird sensation. I remember telling people, are they infecting people with that damn stick? Ah. That's true. Not everyone got it. Well, they say that, Cheery, but for me, I tend to believe if I hadn't taken the Johnson, I never would have got it. My health is very good. But I don't know. I speculate. So Scott's still alive? We can do that. Lord, we pray for Scott, who lost people close to him in a bombing overseas. We pray that Scott knows you and has your peace. We pray that you strengthen Scott and help him heal from all this trauma and the loss of people he knows. We pray that you'd help him with the struggle of what he's seen and experienced. We pray that you would put your hand on him in Jesus' name. Amen. Welcome back, Douglas. Audrey, and I heard that. Wow, Jill. And COVID to me was used politically. I think that the timing of that COVID coming out on the eve of a historic election in this country was no accident. COVID was no joke. And I said, I ain't going to get this. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was driving a busload of rowdy hellions on a route that I did not like. Wheeless Road Elementary. These kids were bad. I'd pull up at the apartment complex, let 30 of them off, and they're throwing pop bottles and sandwiches and God knows what out the windows, fighting, third graders calling each other bitch, the F word flying. Didn't matter if I raised my voice. Didn't matter. I stood at the front of the bus. I looked down the aisle and said, look at yourselves. You guys can't even ride a school bus and maintain control of yourselves. Look at this. Good night. And it was hot. It was 100 degrees, August. My back felt like a steamroller had gone over it. I was drinking water. And I got in my bus seat and I just felt overwhelmingly painful. Went home that night. Made my usual bill of fare. Didn't eat but half of it. I had already showered when I came in the door. Came into my bedroom. And I got chills that just shook my whole body. Oh my gosh, what is going on? I went to bed and I woke up Friday morning, sweaty, hot, dripping, fever. I texted my supervisor. I said, I don't know what I've got, but I've got a fever and I'm sicker than a dog. I will not be in. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a whole nother week. By Saturday, I knew this ain't no 24-hour flu. Sunday, I knew I got COVID. I've got it. 3 or 4 days went by, and then I got that cough that didn't quit. I had to put some Hong Kong Tiger Balm all up in here so I could sleep. And I noticed when I looked in the mirror, I could see my ribs. I was losing weight. I was laying in bed, and I said, God, is this how it ends? Is it time? But when I got through that, I felt like a warrior. I came back to work. On a Tuesday. I called Monday to let my supervisor know I've got COVID. And they said, call downtown, take a screenshot of your thing. And I talked to a lady downtown. She goes, so when did you have the symptoms? I said, Thursday, but Friday for sure. She goes, well, you're at the 10 days. You can go back to work tomorrow. I said, if I don't have a fever tomorrow, I'll be in the bus. And they had given me a new route. And I hadn't driven it. And I showed up and everybody was looking at me. I was white as a ghost. I was walking much slower. And the people there are like, oh my gosh, Mike's not walking fast. That really got him. And they said, Mike, you okay? I said, I'm good. But it knocked me good. I think those kids were scared the first day I did the high school route. They looked at me. I was white as a sheet. And it took me a good month before I was back at full power. I don't ever want to go through that again. Ever. I never took flu shots. I won't do it. I learned from COVID. I'm not taking none of that stuff. Not again. I have a strong feeling if I didn't take that shot, that Johnson one and done, and they pulled it from the market. If I hadn't done that, I probably wouldn't have gotten it. I wish I could go back and refuse that. Be interesting to see what played out. Audrey, I think that there were authorities and powers that be that were monkeying around with the virus. They knew exactly what they were trying to do. Who and what? I believe Fauci. Well, they proved that Fauci was doing gain of function. That was already established. Yeah, booster shots. And I had to listen to my coworkers in transportation. Mike, you should go get the booster shots. I said, no more. I said, I got COVID and I think I got it from taking that stupid vaccine. I'm done. And they were talking every day. Yep, I went and got the other booster shot. I felt like saying, y'all need a booster seat. This is ridiculous. And guess what? People that took the shot still got it. People that masked up and screamed and yelled about people not wearing a mask, they social distance, they got it. I'm telling you. But people were watching me here. They knew I voted for Trump. They knew I was a conservative. And I will say that many from the black community messaged me on Facebook and texted my phone, are you okay? We heard. Are you okay? I said, I'm surviving, but this stuff is miserable. I'm mad enough to admit I got it. I thought it wasn't real. I thought it was just a more severe form of a cold until I got it. And I believe on its exit out of my body, it damaged some things. Vendetta, yeah, a lot of people. Yimes, I've heard that. They manipulated us. They fear-mongered us, Jill. I had a passport. I didn't want to be banned from international travel. "2020 was a dumpster fire." Then, in the middle of all that, you had good old Floyd and riots. Yeah, the rioters were social distancing and masked up, right? Did you notice how quiet the Democrats were about all of that? Not one black person, not one Democrat said stop the rioting. Not one. That just reinforced again, that's what your party's all about. Death and destruction, mayhem, and tearing stuff up. They talk about preserving the environment. They talk about global warming while they encourage people to tear up America, tear up businesses, fires, and destroy. That sounds like Satan. He prowls around like a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. He likes to destroy. It all fit. The Democratic Party and Satan are like this. They're like this. And COVID showed me. Oh, you're all about social distancing and Nancy Pelosi running in there with a towel around her damn head in a salon in California with no mask. And then she has the nerve to terrorize that salon owner when the salon owner called her out for it. Did you just shut up? No, you didn't follow the rules. And you fined people $1,500. You said it in front of the American people. Anybody who walks through my house, that's not your house. That's the people's house. Nancy Pelosi was an idiot. So was Gavin Newsom. All the restaurants were required to be shut down. People lost their homes and money because they couldn't go to work. And Gavin, he and his wife and a medical entourage, no mask, went to a French restaurant, $300 truffle dinner for himself. And then when he got caught, he just giggled about it. Giggled. But then they put sand in the skate parks. They busted playground equipment in California so kids wouldn't go to the park. They arrested a kayaker who was in the water on the Pacific Ocean. I'm going to say it. I would say it to Gavin's face. I could run the state of California better than that clown could any day, and I'm not governor material. This is what our country's been doing, is they vote in imbeciles to run the show. I don't respect leaders like that, and I don't have to. Morons. Gavin Newsom should have been thrown in jail for violating the very rules that he was quick to enforce. Nancy Pelosi should have been arrested. She fined people. And the Supreme Court said you can't do that. How many times has the Supreme Court come against Democrats? Man, they came against Obama so many times it wasn't even funny. They're not about following the law. I love it when Pelosi says no one's above the law. You're right, except the Democrats. And if people are offended that I bring up politics, I'm sorry. Look at what's going on in Ireland. Look at what's going on around us. We have to talk about it. You can bury your head in the sand and you can be entertained. You know, I know everybody wants my channel to be this big, warm fuzzy. I wish it was. But we got to talk about this issue. You cannot ignore it. Because if you ignore it, one day you're not going to be ignoring it anymore. And you're going to go, what the heck happened? Well, you didn't want to talk about politics, so here we are. I don't care if people mock me because I wear a dress and put on lipstick. I got more backbone and fire in me than any of these clowns in Washington on the Republican right. Let me wear a dress. Let me run for Congress. I will prove a point. It's not what you wear. It's what's inside of you. Do you have a fire in your bones? Or are you just another pussy politician dipping your hands in the cookie jar? That's all they are. And what do the Republicans do to stop this madness? Shaboom. Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started. Yeah. And Charlie Kirk was shot by a liberal. I'm going to say it again. If you want to solve violence in this country, take the guns away from Democrats. Take the guns away from Democrats. Look at the highest crime areas in the United States and what ethnicities there and what their voting track record is. That'll answer all your questions. I'm tired of the lies of the left. I'm tired of the media hiring dum-dums that read a teleprompter and wear ugly outfits and got gaudy amounts of makeup and they look like crap. Or the geeky guys with the gelled hair. Yep, Marty can tell us about the weather. So what's going on? Got some moisture? Shut up. Bunch of acting and bullcrap. There's no fire in the Republicans. There's no fire in the Republican Party, and we fail over and over. We have no passion in there. Let me get up. Let me campaign. Let me show up at an event like this. Let me turn the industry on its head. He's wearing a dress. He's got more conviction than any of you do. He's a Christian and he's wearing women's clothes. I have more fire for God's word than any of you do. And all these people that attack me on this channel, they get mad because I do this. They get mad because I get down and I have fun and I show people you can express yourself. I'm not out there bending over little kids and doing this. I'm not out running a Ponzi scheme. I'm not shooting up. I'm not stealing people's retirement. I'm just Michael being Michael, and that's apparently a big crime in people's minds. Sometimes my own enemies are Christians and conservatives. And this country's going to hell in a handbasket, and it's not because I'm wearing a dress. Oh my gosh. People. Seriously. Hey, Wisdo. They should be listed as domestic terrorists. Amen. And let me be bold. Anybody offended that I'm ripping on the Democrats? Please unsubscribe from my channel. I will not shed a tear for that. I make my money working hard. So if one person leaves my channel because they're butthurt because I said the truth about the Democrats, bye. Bye-bye. We're going to tell the truth here. We're going to tell the truth about me. We're going to tell the truth about Christians. We're going to tell the truth about everybody. We're not going to sugarcoat a darn thing. We're not going to do it. I put my own self out here. It was so freeing the other day when somebody said, I want to know why you wear women's clothes. And I said, because I love it. When I finally admitted that, it felt so good. I love dressing. I love putting on lipstick. I think it's hot. I'd like to dress like this and campaign. And you watch. Christians and conservatives, look at this guy dressing like a woman. He's representing the LGBT. No, I'm not. I'm not representing anybody but me. You're a narcissist. I have no more narcissism as anybody else in this country. Oh, now that's interesting, Bites. That's real interesting. The View is trash can television. It's garbage. I had a friend in Boston, he said, that's a bunch of garbage. The View is toilet bowl productions. I could run a show better than The View. Overpaid, horribly dressed women that paid too much for ugly outfits and don't even know how to properly apply makeup and look cute. Putting makeup on Whoopi Goldberg is like painting a dumpster in pastel colors. It's still a trash can. Boom! I mean, seriously. And liberals don't like it when I say that. Have you heard what they're saying about us? Have you heard what they're saying about us? They're nasty. Remember TMZ? When all their people in the office went, woo! When they heard about Charlie Kirk being killed? Why is that piece of trash show still on the air? Excuse me? That should have been shut down. We shouldn't laugh if a Democrat's blood shed in the streets either. I don't agree with these Democrats, but violence is not okay. Killing people because of what they believe is not okay. The only ones that should die at the sword are those that flash it around. Islams want to blow up buildings? Blow them up. Blow them up. You want to burn churches? Blow up their mosques. Absolutely. Tit for tat. You want to push your violent religion? Then you should be met with violence. They should be banned from coming here. They should be banned from building a mosque. Call me racist. I'm not. They're dangerous. Their belief system is hazardous to my health, your health, the health of our culture, the health of our families, and to God-fearing people. We need to mirror to the Muslim community what they're doing. I'm sick and tired of people pussyfooting around with Muslims. You play with fire, you're going to get burned. You let these people in, they will dominate, they will take over, and they will destroy us. They're doing it in the UK. Did you see that black man trying to behead a Belfast citizen? Did you see that? I don't know why 10 Irishmen didn't jump on him and rip his head off and throw it in the ocean. I want to know what's happened to us as a people. We don't do anything. We talk about it. We complain about it. We don't do anything. Change doesn't come. We vote in clowns, shoeshine liars. Paul, you have a good one, man. Thanks for coming in. Be safe. I am totally against Islam. It is not a religion of peace. It is not biblical. It is a satanic false belief system. Muslim men do not care about the value of a woman. And what's really laughable is Ilhan Omar. She's a nasty, terroristic woman. And she would never be able to be in a political power in her Muslim countries. So you got a rabid feminist Muslim in power in the U.S. The men in her Muslim nation would not permit that. That just blows my mind. And she comes over here to hate us, Christians, Israel, conservatives, whites. What in God's name is that woman doing standing in this country? Yeah, married her brother. But they won't investigate that. The Democrats don't care. And the thing that bothers me, I listen to these Democrats and even some of the people that come in this room flinging stuff at Trump. I said, why don't you deal with Biden? We're not talking about Biden. You didn't want to talk about him then. You don't want to talk about him now. I find it interesting that Democrats' stance is that they never sin. My Bible says if we say we have no sin, the truth of God is not in us. The Democrats never acknowledge wrongdoing. Is that even possible? Is the Democrat Party really believe they're sinless? Yep. They don't even follow Christian principles. Now that's an impossibility. You're not even a Christian. I'm a Christian and I sin. The Democratic Party is shred by their own incompetence and foolishness. The party should cease to exist. Jill, thanks for coming in. Oh, I thought she was leaving. Paul's still saying goodbyes. He does Minnesota goodbyes. An hour later, he'll leave the room. I may not agree with people's beliefs, but I believe people in America have the right to believe what they want. Islam, I draw the line. Islam is not a reciprocal belief system. Mormons disagree with me, but they're not lying in wait to shed my blood. Muslims, that's a whole different story. Hi, Don. Trudeau is a bonehead, and I'd say it to his face. Justin Trudeau and Gavin Newsom would make the greatest gay marriage I've ever seen. They're both exactly alike. You want to make fun of something? Gavin Newsom's got white hair, and he's younger than me, and gelled. How gay. How gay. And he's probably never operated a push mower. Do you know he's banned the sale of gas-powered pickups and cars in his state in 2035 it takes place? Did you know that? I'm not a supporter of gay marriage, but I would support the marriage of Trudeau and Gavin. That would be an awesome couple. They'd be good together. They're both whacked. The hypocrisy. The truckers protested. Gavin got pissed. Took their GoFund money, stole it all. How can he do that? They didn't riot. They didn't set things on fire. And by the way, not one Democrat complained about the trail of destruction that the so-called Floyd supporters left across this country. That's preserving the environment, huh? looting, burning down stuff, breaking windows. Yeah, that's really preserving the environment, isn't it? And goats are worried too. Did you hear Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Whoopi Goldberg, or any of the black women? Who's that crazy Maxine Waters? And that ratchet black girl that quit, Jasmine, a mouthy, vulgar biatch down there in Texas. She got mad because she didn't win. Bye, Felicia. Get these people out of office. They're rabid racists. I thought we weren't supporting Jasmine Crocker. She's a crockpot, all right. Crocker. Shh. I don't like these people. They hate us. They have no business running. When you're a politician, you need to represent the people. Not aberrant ideologies, not one group over another. You need to represent the people. Even if I was to run, everybody would say, what's your stance on the gay thing? Same as everything else. God doesn't condone it. But I can't stop two gay people from banging each other in their bedroom, and I can't stop two lesbians from bumping clams in their bedroom. If they want to do it, they're going to do it. You have to admit, doesn't matter where you go in America, whether it's small town or big city, it's all around us. So, is it my job to ban that? Say, I don't support the gay pride parades and stuff, but I don't support harassing them either. We all got to stand before God. People question me dressing like this. I'm not going to get on a campaign and say that men can't dress like women. But I will say, if you're born a man, you do not get to go into women's sports. That's a no-brainer. Men go in the men's bathroom, women go in the women's bathroom, and I'm not going to recognize transgender. If you want to dress feminine, wear high heels and purse, I'm okay with that. But use the male's bathroom. Penis is to the left, vaginas to the right. Okay, that's it. We don't need to cross bathroom. I'm tired of that. Why do you got to use the woman's bathroom? I go to the toilet to pee. The only time I've used a women's bathroom was when I've been at a workplace and the line for the men's was so long, and some of the women said, that's a one toilet in there, Mike, go ahead and use it and lock the door. But there's nobody else going to come in there. Not yet, Vendetta. Absolutely, Max. I go to the empty bathroom. At my workplace, we have an advantage. I go in between two containers and pull the door behind me in, and everybody does. I don't like public toilets. I do not like public toilets at all. People that insist on using the bathroom of the opposite sex have mental problems. What is the difference between the woman's toilet and the men's toilet? Nothing. Why do you got to use the girl's bathroom? There's a guy employed in transportation right now. He's a mechanic. He's not a good-looking man, and he's not a good-looking wannabe woman. He drove the bus that I rode on when the driver wasn't there. He would show me pictures wearing his bikini. And I said, wow, those are beautiful pictures of Hawaii. He wanted me so bad to compliment him. He wanted validation. I wouldn't give it to him. When he had his trans surgery, he went into the woman's bathroom up where the women go. And I had a black woman at a restaurant tell me, you know, he came into the bathroom and I was in there and I'm uncomfortable, Mike. He stood against the wall by the sink, watching every one of us as we came in to see if we react. I said, be careful. He's gotten people fired. I said, one day we were at the school. I had fastened all the wheelchair tie downs. I said, we can go, sir. I got everybody on. I wasn't being purposefully rude. He got angry. After everybody's off, he said, you outed me. I said, what do you mean? You called me, sir. I said, you know what? When I started here, you were a guy. No, I wasn't. They're forcing us to lie. I said, you know, I have a Christian conviction about telling the truth, and I've never been disrespectful to you. He went and told my supervisor, who's a black woman, and I said, you know, I dealt with that. Oh, he said that you acknowledged. I said, we shouldn't have to be forced, ma'am. And what we've done as a nation, if somebody wants to call me ma'am or call me honey, I don't care unless you're being derogatory. But I would never say I'm a woman. I'm not a woman. Men have come into the chat and said, hey, darling. Sometimes I'll say, you know, I am a dude, right? Because they may not know. The best way to be gender neutral is not say ma'am or sir, but it's hard. We slip. I'm in the South. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. And it is unreasonable. And it is against my personal will and freedom of expression to be forced to acknowledge you as a woman when you're not. I have some dark stuff inside of me. I'm man enough to admit it. I like women. But if a guy's nice and says, hey, honey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Feels good to be called honey. Doesn't mean I want to get into bed with him. I take it as a compliment. He's like, wow, he's pulling off the woman thing. He looks good. I'm different than most Christians. I believe in the Bible. I will defend it against the most rabid atheist. But I am not perfect. I have dark desires. I have struggle. I like dressing feminine. I like wearing women's clothes and lipstick. It turns me on. It arouses me. It's fun. Do I want to get into bed and live with a man? No. Have there been times I've had fetishes? Absolutely. Who in this room hasn't? Name one person in this room who's never had a fetish or some weird thing go through them. Most people will lie about it, pretend. Yeah, vendetta. And the thing is, I'm not gay. Gay is somebody who loves and wants to be with the same sex. If I had a woman on here or anywhere that fell in love with me and I fell in love with her and she had a girlfriend lover, I would not care. Now, as a Christian, it's wrong. The Bible says it's wrong. But if I had a woman who's a good wife to me and loved me, but she had a close friend that she got intimate with, I wouldn't forbid her, as long as it didn't interfere with our relationship. And that person that she's with doesn't hate me or try to subterfuge. One, because I understand. Now, that doesn't mean that me condoning it is right. I'm just saying where I'm at. I don't want my woman with another man. I do not. Ethan, and you're right. Now, I'm not going to go into a kids area doing what I'm doing. People that do that, you need to put a watch on them. Men that are doing what I do and they want to hang out with children, the pedophile dashboard warning system needs to be fully activated. Yeah, I talked about the togas. Christians can condemn anything. They can pull scripture out of context. The Scottish wear kilts. George Washington, they wore garters and girdles and makeup and wigs and heels. Look it up. Look it up. Now, I never had a fetish for Quaker Oat, guys, okay? I like Quaker Oats, but I don't look at George Washington and go, wow. Have I seen feminine men with long hair wearing ladies' clothes and felt some? Absolutely. I had a talk with my friend who lived and taught in China. He and I both experienced a lot of same things. We didn't even know each other when we were over there. Yes, plebs. It's called addicted. People are shocked that I put myself out here. Do you know why I say what I say? There's people struggling with this and they'll never be honest with God, themselves, or others because of fear. The Bible says you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. What does that freedom mean? It means when you admit the truth about yourself, it's a lot more freeing to come out with it than to have somebody shout it out in public and embarrass you later. I've done a lot of things wrong. You too, plebs, thank you. And I say it again, I don't want to date a man. Men are hairy, men are sweaty, men are a different construct. I'm not attracted to men. Extended periods of loneliness, when I get depressed, when I've got a cold coming on. Sometimes I wouldn't mind going over and having a man massage me and put oil all over me. But it doesn't mean I'm in love or attracted to him. Touch is stimulus. I remember years ago, they were building Interstate 35 in Duluth. It dead-ended at, Mesabi? And they ran it. It's really weird. They spent billions of dollars to run it just a couple miles further underneath downtown Duluth. And then hit on London Road and it dead ends. I don't know why they didn't run it all the way to Canada. And when they were building the tunnels by the park I used to go to, there was nobody down there. When the weekends, it was dead. I met a guy my age in his 20s and we were just talking and yeah, we stood out there, pulled our pants down and rubbed one out. I didn't do anything with him. He didn't do anything with me. And I look back at that. Why did we do that? I don't know. It felt good. I think it felt good to be free enough to do that in front of somebody else and they weren't looking at you weird. They are plebs. Because I'm telling the truth, Ethan. And some people look at me and they think, ooh, maybe I can get with him. No. Others look at me and think there's something wrong with this guy. There's something wrong with all of us. I like women. But the truth is, just because I'm a Christian, yeah, and that shocks me. I think if I was going to go to battle, I don't want to come out in a skirt and a dress. I'd feel vulnerable. And guess what? I'm not the only one who's done these things. I think there's more men that have been on my channel that will never be honest like I am. Our sexuality, our nudity is so scorned. Christians actually do harm by beating on the sexual drum so hard. You know, you're not supposed to be naked. Maybe if we had more nudity appropriately, there'd be less of these desires. Maybe if we stop having so many damn hang-ups. I don't know. Suit and tie is an act. We're all naked before God. Anybody remember the Brady Bunch? Remember when Marsha Brady had her driver's test? And that old heavy-set man was giving her a test. And she told her mom she was so nervous. And somebody told her, picture him in his underwear. And she did. She pictured him in his underwear and it made her laugh and it gave her the confidence to pass the test. When you see these suits and ties and their bellicose ways, even the guy at church that runs the choir, pastor even admitted he's very insecure. Imagine him naked, just an insecure guy, hiding behind a suit and tie. People hide behind their clothing. They hide behind an image. Michael doesn't. I don't. I don't even know what the green Barat swimsuit is, and I'm not wearing no thong or Speedo or butt floss. I've got a, I'm not a, I don't dislike my own butt, but I don't want my butt cheeks showing. Not my thing. There's nudist beaches. I'm not sure where they are. You know, Adam and Eve felt shame when they sinned. I don't know what budgie smugglers are. What? That sounds funny. San Diego does? I didn't know that. I thought San Diego was a little more upper end financially as a city, and I didn't think that'd be allowed. Does anybody remember when I was in Duluth years ago? There's a group of people that came to Duluth called the Rainbow People, not the gay and lesbian. They were like modern version of the 60s, smoking pot, naked. And I knew several people that told me when they came to town, attorneys, professionals, in suits and ties would get off work and go out there in the woods with them. I'm like, really? Talk about sharp contrast. Suits and ties and professionalism is a mask and an act. I know something about this country, and it scares people when I tell them. There are professional men in corporate offices that if I was into that world, they would shut their door and have me dance naked on their mahogany desk and suck me off. And they would act to the public that they're married, good churchgoers, own a successful company. I'm telling you the truth. Clothing is a mask. This idea of dressing for God is a bunch of crap. It says in the Bible, whatsoever you do, do it all to the glory of God. I don't have to wear a suit and tie to glorify God. What are budgie? Oh, Speedos. Yeah, I don't like men's stuff. Spandex. Some people, men do not look good in spandex, and overweight women do not look good in spandex. No, no, no. I don't need to see a 350-pound woman in her camel toe. That's gross. Hi, Paula. Apodus, absolutely. And the fact is we act shocked. When the Bible says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, why do we think because somebody's wearing a suit and tie, they don't do that? They got a family. They got their wife and their kids on the credenza behind them. And they'll suck off another man with that picture on the credenza behind them in their office. Hi, Mom. Because of me being curious about things, experimenting, I learned about a subculture, a world of smoke and mirrors. That's right, pleb. And they have the same sinful desires I and you and everybody in this room does. And I've told people, I don't think anybody should be ashamed because they have an attraction towards the same sex. We should be ashamed of our sin. You can't help what you feel. And I'm sorry, I'm going to disagree with the Baptist church on this. You can't help what you feel. But there's certain things you shouldn't do. There are certain things you shouldn't do. Sputnik. Oh my gosh, Risa was Sputnik. What a random. Why are you fascinated with Sputnik, Risa? Talk to me. By the way, I decided because I live in the South, and I know you guys are going to be against this because I'm a Christian, but I'm starting an OnlyFans club. And there's my t-shirt. You like that? Anybody want to join? Yeah, I need an OnlyFans club. I live in the South. Isn't that cute? That's compliments of Planet G. She sent me that in Discord. I love it. I love it. Sputnik was the satellite that Russia sent into orbit before we landed on the moon. And it caused America to get in an uproar and race to the moon. Isn't that funny? I support that OnlyFans. I said if I had an OnlyFans channel, it wouldn't make money. There's a woman, she's done 850 guys. She does OnlyFans, makes $35,000, $40,000 a year being an SLUT on the internet. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you something about me. I'd love to have people throwing money at me. I'd love to be able to take off clothes and be sensual, and I would enjoy that. But you know how I know God got a hold of me? If I'm doing that for money, God will make that money dry up. My money, the only money that's legit is what God gives me. All right, Max, you have a good one. Thanks for coming in. I didn't mean to be boring, Max. OnlyFans. And G's probably sleeping right now, but I thought that is so cute. Ceiling fans, oscillating fans, fans on a stand, window fans, air conditioner fan, personal fans. That's awesome. That's awesome. Paula, and that's good. Marriage is honorable. Marriage is right. There was a group called After the Fall, ATF. Interesting name, by the way. The Japanese fan. I have been made aware that, and I said I like my pastor, and I do, but some of the preaching has just been so guilt ridden lately. And he's preaching the truth. We can't dismiss that. A lot of people will not go to church because they don't want to be guilty. I think we need to face the guilt. I think we need to look it straight in the eye. But people putting people on guilt trips without the intent of building up. And sometimes churches can make you feel so bad that you just finally say, I'm nothing but a worm. But that's not right either. We need balance. We need balance. And it does bother me. Women have a privilege. They got a good looking body. They can sell it. I don't got that privilege. No, I got to work in a warehouse. I mean, sometimes it bothers me. Women could just be loose on the internet and make a fistful of money and not have to go to work every day. That bothers me. Life is not fair. Paula, you have a good one. The Pinwheel fan. Wasn't that the Geico? Remember the pig? And he's going, wee, and below. That was so funny. My fan is top left. Yeah, the one on the stands are the best. I have been told that the plastic bladed fans are weak compared to the metal blades because the plastic flattens out. I remember when fans, the box fans and the oscillators used to be metal blades, and they were good. You could feel them. Yes, Melissa, and that's wrong. That commercial was funny, Wisen. I like to sleep in a windstorm. Maybe you should get a wind tunnel. You'll wake up in the morning all the way against the other wall, blankets stuck to the ceiling. I appreciate you guys and gals. Honesty is a rare thing today. To be transparent. Our professional world does not teach that. They teach people to act. They teach people not to let their guard down. They teach people to keep that drawbridge up and look like you're in control. That's not the life God encourages us. You know, when David was chosen as king, he broke the stereotype. He was ruddy, youthful, and a boy. You know, he was out there herding sheep. But God chose him because he had a heart. You know, our world puts preeminence. Look, they talk about Donald Trump's son. He looks like royalty. Well, so what? Royalty don't mean anything. We're taken in by an image, an illusion. All right, folks. I thank you all for coming. Yes. It was a good chat, Ethan, and thanks for sticking with it. They are a figurehead. Absolutely. Hey, Robert, you have a good one. You guys be safe. It's going to be a hot one today. Weather changed again. Now it's 97 today, not 96. Crazy hot, muggy weather. Be safe. Pray for these fires in Canada and Norway and around the world to come to an end. We don't need that. Sometimes it feels good just to veg. Oh, I will. I will, plebs, after work. Thank you, Gabby, Wizen, and Vendetta, and Jill. Absolutely, Jill. We need to pray. I thank God that he gives us mercy in spite of ourselves. I need it. Thank you, Ethan. And I appreciate that. Hey, Jennifer. LB, good to see you again. You know, I'm aware of my struggle and my sin, and I beat myself up. But I believe God can use us in spite of ourselves. 102 degrees. Oh my gosh. You guys are hotter than us. Of course, we got the humidity, which makes the heat index up there. All right, you guys. Till next time, be safe.